next is me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just you're next.
Okay.
Yes. You're next.
So I'll show you a very rare album. Uh, I've shown this to Gautam once. Uh, this is a
Yes, I know this.
this is a band called Grannie, and it's a British band. Again, heavy progressive, nice interplay of organ and guitar. The story is that this album was recorded in 1971. It was a private pressing. They had 8 hours of studio time and they could afford, and the offer was that you will have 8 hours of studio time and about 99 copies of the album pressed for
Wow.
for £100. So they had to play live in the studio, and then after the mastering, the LPs were pressed. The original copies, of course, it's out of radar. It's in 4 figures. If you see the Hans Pakora's book of rare records, it's there with the 5-star rarity rating. But this is an exact replica released by the Record Collector magazine. I think uh, Kevin Shirley. And just to show you, this is actually a white cover, the blank white cover, and this artwork is pasted, hand pasted, and there is nothing on the back cover. Okay, and it has a poster inside and the Record Collector magazine certificate of authenticity signed by Ian Shirley, the editor. So this is an exact replica of the LP, and it has 6 songs. And if you see the online reviews, they say that it's an amazing. I mean, it's a pleasant surprise. Actually, it's an amazing album. Very recently, another label called Silly Coat, it has come up with another reissue. So this is a little different. It has a die cut album cover, so you can actually take this
nice.
out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it is actually the inner sleeve. So they have given 2 inner sleeves, one for the cover and another for keeping the record. And you have the liner notes in the separate insert. A very nice gatefold cover with the lyrics of the 6 songs and the back cover. So this is a recent reissue. So an amazing album. I'll highly recommend it for you guys.
Yeah, I have never listened to it. I've just heard about this album, but yeah, I definitely need to.
Fortunately, this reissue is available, but the Record Collector magazine, the rare vinyl series that I have shown, it is out of print, of course. I got it from an eBay auction at a very, you can't imagine, at a very cheap price. So I was lucky from that. That guy had 5 copies. He was putting one by one on the auction. I got it at a very cheap price. The other 4 ended up in 4 figures. Sorry,
Wow.
3 figures. 3 figures, not 4 figures, 3 figures.
Cool.
But I was able to score it at a very fairly low price. So
Nice.
Out of curiosity, what's the most you've ever paid for a record? If you don't mind saying that.
No, I don't. I think for Flower Travelling Band, Satori, that I'll show next. So I do not, and I refuse to pay much for a record because I don't think that paying so much for a record is absolutely worth. So, but this particular record, it's an original Japanese pressing, the Flower Travelling Band Satori. I think I paid something about $52, maybe. That is the highest.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I've never gone beyond that.
Yeah, I think the
But
highest.
somehow I was lucky to score most of my wish list albums, whether it's original, vintage, classic, vintage pressing, or reissue within my budget, $20-$30 maximum.
Cool. What about the rest of you?
I think around the same as Avik, really, because I'm always looking for the cheapest possible option.
Yeah.
So probably Dark Angel's first album, We Have Arrived. That I think I paid around €60 for the original first pressing.
Which one?
But this thrash metal band called Dark Angel.
Oh.
So that was basically, it was only released by this small French label, but they were an American band. So from 1984, I think. So yeah, that was about €60. But that was probably the costliest. Otherwise, keep looking for deals, keep sending offers on Discogs, and hope that somebody says, okay, fine, take it, you poor third worlder. But yeah.
No, we are talking about, about box sets or single LPs?
No,
or...
I think we're talking about single LPs. Box
single
sets,
LPs,
That way lies madness. So yeah, single LPs.
Yeah, single LP. I think the maximum I paid was just a little under $80. I mean, 80 to 85. I think it was with shipping. It was quite some time ago. This was for I forget the name. Demigod Slumber of Sullen Eyes.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so I got that quite some time ago, and now it's almost hard to get it.
Yeah, it's impossible to find.
Yeah, but that was the most I paid. This was, I think, 2015 or 16. I think I paid. And that also, I had to really, think a lot. But yeah, that's the maximum I paid for one LP. Yeah.
Yeah, with me the maximum I paid was I think 200 Sing for the Alice Cooper. This one for the Alice Cooper Schools Out piece, and I kind of bit the bullet because I'm like a huge, massive Alice Cooper fan, and it was in great condition and all of that. So so that I think works out to around 143 US, and I hopefully will never spend that much on a single LP again. But because I don't think there's anything else that I want which I'd be willing to pay that much for. But
it depends on how much you value it, right? For me, at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Gautam, it's your turn.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be quick with this. So, Leaf Hound, Growers of Mushrooms. So, another heavy rock, psych rock, stoner rock. I don't know. This is just like, I just really like this album, particularly when, when I used to get high, I guess. Yeah, you're all dance here, right?
The first song of the album, Frail and Strained. The guitar riff.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
But terrific stuff. This is a Repertoire Records, Abbey, what is that? Record studio? Abbey Road. Half Speed Master. So it sounds amazing. And just a really, really good album. And I'm sure you all are.
This is a Repertoire reissue?
Repertoire,
Repertoire. Or Akarma. The Akarma one has
Repertoire.
Has a single also, 2 bonus tracks.
No. This is the Repertoire reissue.
Repertoire.
The Half Speed Master,
Yeah, I have the same one.
Yeah. Sorry, Saket, you were saying something.
No, I was just saying, this album really needed a reissue, right? Because I think the first time it was reissued, this was the first time it was reissued, or did it get a reissue?
No. I'll just give you an update because this vocalist, Peter French, is in my Facebook friend list. Okay. So I get the updates from him. So this album has been reissued by a lot of labels. like Repertoire is one. Akarma has a very good reissue. And then there is a Polish label called Revisit Records or something. But I think day before yesterday only, this has again been reissued on green vinyl by Repertoire only. Yeah. So, yes. They have a live album also, which was released in Japan by Captain Trip Records. I have that version by Hound, live in Japan, and that was released in a poster cover. And they have a second album, Unleashed, which was available on CD, but now that is also being reissued by Repertoire. So incidentally,
that pre-orders are up, right?
Yeah, incidentally, Peter French have offered that album to us to release. We have proposed to him the second album, Unleashed, which was released in 2007. But in the meantime, Repertoire has acquired the rights of that album from him. So it is being released on Repertoire right now. But it was initially talked to reissue it on our level.
Cool.
He has given me a free offer. I have the rights back of that. If you want to release it, I can give it to you. I have that mail with me. Unfortunately,
that's awesome. Yeah.
But I will definitely ask him to give us some live album to release. Like Hound played a very good concert in Sweden Rock Festival in Roadburn. So I'll approach to him if we could release that live album on our level.
Yeah, that'll be really, really cool. For people who are watching, Avik is also.
Oh, sorry.
For people who are watching, Avik is also co-owner and runs the label Free School Street Records based out of Kolkata. So they put out a few reissues, and they recently released the Enjoy Trio record, which is like the Indian blues band, also based out of Kolkata. But they've also done international releases, and I think they're coming up with Industries album on vinyl next. Evolve, yeah. Next.
The fourth
so
album.
I'll put a link to that in the descriptions as well, so check them out.
Thank you so much.
Ravi?
Yeah, so this is an album that I've been trying to get GK into ever since 2002. This Relaya by Yes. Again, absolute stone cold progressive rock classic in my opinion. Just the gatefold sleeve, really pretty. Absolutely incredible album. Funnily enough, I got into the, I got into Yes thanks to piracy and a temper tantrum. I had shown up to see The Sixth Sense with a few friends. This was before the mobile phone era. And so by the time I landed, these guys had assumed that I wasn't coming. So they'd got the tickets for themselves and I stormed off in a huff because I was like, fuck you guys. We can't wait for a dude to show up. And I'm like coming from halfway across from the other side of town. So I stormed off in a huff, and weirdly enough, this never happened before and never happened later. One of the guys who sold pirated software and games had a complete discography of Yes on an MP3 CD. And I figured I'd cut my losses and just buy that album. And, it had, I think, the classic run from starting with Fragile and ending with Drama. And I was absolutely blown away by Relayer in particular. It was an incredible album. And I think this is, the Relayer LP is one of the main reasons to get a record player if you are, into Yes at all. Because again, all the CDs, and I've heard everything from the original CD issue to the Rhino remaster to the Steven Wilson 5.1 reissue. All of them sound like crap compared to the record. The way it kind of bounces and jumps out at you is absolutely unique, has no parallels. And the music is insane. I mean, the first song is like this a sidelong 21-minute epic, which has some of Yes's most over-the-top musicianship. It ends on this fantastic note of tranquility. The next side has one of their most aggressive, punchy songs. And then again, it ends on a note of absolute peace and tranquility. Absolutely stunning album. When I was actually in two minds about buying, about getting into a vinyl setup when I moved to Singapore, because, I already had a record player and a huge collection back home in India. And I kind of felt that if I, open the door even slightly, I was going to end up spending a lot of time and a lot of money on this. And finally, it was seeing a copy of Relayer at a store where a friend of mine who just got a, turntable set up was shopping, that kind of made me take the plunge. And yeah, well, I don't regret it. I think my bank balance does, but yeah, this is like the gateway drug to vinyl, if you ask me. It's an amazing album, and it sounds 10x better on record.
Yeah, this is quite an, underrated, like a Yes album, I think. Not as, I guess, like highly rated as, the
Close to the Edge
or close to the Edge. Yeah.
They are going to play this album in entirety in their album series tour next year in Europe. Relayer, and then followed by other classics.
Yeah, but I have very mixed feelings about the current lineup. There's only Steve Howe for some really, and for some really churlish reason, he isn't even letting John Anderson back in the band.
And Rick Wakeman also, he left out.
Yeah, and Rick Wakeman. But Rick Wakeman had this entire thing saying that I think his son was playing keys with them for a while.
Oliver Wakeman,
I'm not sure if that still persists. But, it just seems kind of deliberately like they're walling off parts of their history because they just can't get along anymore, or I don't know why. Presumably that. But, I have mixed feelings about seeing that. Steve Howe still has got it, though. He's an amazing guitarist, and I think, his solos are definitely one of the standout elements of this album. So, yeah, absolutely love it. I was just wondering, did you guys have a similar experience? Have you heard a CD version of this album that sounds as good as the record does?
We have heard it, but didn't notice the way you have been saying. But definitely we'll have another spin and compare the audio of the LP and the CD. Have the CD as well.
Yeah, because, none of the CDs have landed as well for me as the record did. So, yeah.
I have this only on vinyl. So I've never done a one-to-one comparison, say, with a YouTube audio or But yeah, I can. Yeah.
When I first got it, I got a real kick out of it. Was the friend that I was telling you about lives at my condo, and I actually had this on high-res audio from HD Tracks. That was the Steven Wilson mix, and I had the Rhino remaster, and we played them sequentially. And this one was just, all of us agreed that the record was just so much better than the other two.
So what do you all think of Steven Wilson's production skills?
Oh, doesn't work out for me. You fell down after taking the name of Steven Wilson. You answered your
My phone fell down, I swear.
I think he's probably a better producer than he is a musician. I think his music has really, it's a classic case of diminishing returns. It's kind of like pop music. The first time you hear it, you're like, wow, this is great. By time 3 or 4, you're kind of bored of it, and you realize that, it's kind of lacking in depth, and it's mainly, a surface glitzy kind of thing. Like I think he'd done a song mocking Britpop called Four Chords That Made a Million. But when you dig right down to it, Steven Wilson is 7 chords that made a million. So, I think he's, a bit of a poser. So, yeah. Also, his entire I don't like guitar shred thing is complete nonsense because, guitar shred's one of the most fantastic
Oh, yeah,
things
yeah.
that have ever happened
I
to
just saw
music.
that recently. Where he said, "What? It's not art, or it doesn't make me feel anything, or something like that."
Yeah.
He said, "No."
Yeah. Also, I have all of his remasters of Crimson and a few of the Tal remasters and a few of the all of the Yes ones as well. And I think what he's able to do is give a certain amount of greater dynamism to the sound, in the sense that he amps up parts that were, kind of buried in the mix. But somehow when you listen to the original mix, maybe on a record or something like that,
Yeah.
the kind of impact that the music has is lost.
I completely agree with you.
Kind of excavating individual parts of it and amping them up.
Definitely. See what's happening. He is doing the remixing. He's not remastering. So remix means you are changing and tweaking the original multi-tracks. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that, then it's not King Crimson or Jethro Tull anymore. It is Steven Wilson. It is not the way the band intended to sound in the year 1970 or 1972.
Yeah.
So it has become a brand thing now, Steven Wilson remix, but it doesn't work out. I would always prefer a King Crimson reissue with Robert Fripp remastering, but not the remix done by Steven Wilson.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
and the stand-up, I think stand-up by Tull was probably his most egregiously awful remix job. It completely sapped the album of any power it had, and it just sounded like some underpowered weak sauce album from the late 60s, as opposed to one of the most vital kind of musical documents from that era. So yeah. Anyway, I think we should stop ranting about Steven Wilson and
over to you, Shaket.
Yes. Okay. So I'm next. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this one next is Comus.
Oh, my favorite.
Oh yeah.
This album. Yeah. So this is a reissue. This is a 1998 reissue. I think this has a. Yeah, this has the single. I mean, like Diana on the second LP. So yeah, I mean, this album.
Pressing?
Sorry.
It's a Japanese pressing.
No. This is an Italian pressing.
Italian pressing. Okay.
It
was released on Music on Vinyl also.
Yeah. Yes. But that was I think maybe 2-3 years ago. But this is from 1998. This is from 1998. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think this album is probably the most weird one on this list.
No, it's a psychedelic folk. Both the albums are good, and I think they have reunited. I think 5-6 years back and released another album.
Out of the Coma.
And a live, Out of the Coma, and a live at the Mellowboard Festival. So live album is available on LP.
Yeah, the live album also I have. Yeah, correct. Yeah, but this album. No, I mean, this album. I actually got to listen to this album. I quite recently. I mean, recently as in maybe 5-6 years ago. And but yeah, I actually had never heard of anything like this. I mean, this is quite freakish. I mean, you have really very nice. I mean, acoustic guitars, and then you have some violin which is not in tune, and you have a guy who actually. This could be the guy, who knows. I mean, the guy singing is Yeah, but somehow it all works out quite well. I mean, the entire atmosphere that it creates is yeah, I mean, it's quite unique. I mean, this was 1971. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess this didn't do well back then, but yeah, I mean, now it has become like a cult album, and now people have started to just come across this. I mean, over the internet or but this is quite a special album to me. I mean, this still gets quite like repeated plays.
Yeah, like seriously freaky stuff, and very unsettling also. Like I'd never
Yes.
thought of British folk being like this, or any kind of folk music being so unsettling.
Actually, a lot of the folk music is lyrically, at least, extraordinarily
Lyrically,
unsettling.
yeah, that's true.
Straight ahead folk,
But
it's kind of psychedelic folk. It's not straight ahead. Very weird kind of music, as you said very rightly.
Yeah, I think there's a song by Steeleye Span, if I'm not mistaken, called Long Lankin. And that's a kind of subject matter that, you'd have thought in the heavy metal world would be in, I don't know, Cannibal Corpse territory or something, because it's essentially about this criminal called Long Lankin, who I think persuades a maid who's supposed to be looking after this child to skewer its body with needles, and it's quite graphic. So yeah.
This is my CD copy also. This is a Japanese pressing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's on the OBA strip.
Yeah. So I mean, over to you then. Next.
So the last album of today. Yeah, this is the coveted.
Oh wow! The motherhood.
Satori. Just one track in 5 parts. Is a vintage Atlantic pressing, Japanese Atlantic, and with a gatefold cover with the images of Indian gods, and an amazing album, rock album, heavy psychedelic rock, but with Eastern elements. I mean, some Indian influences that also can be heard. So the artwork really lives up to the theme. An amazing album. I mean, I like the vocals and the guitar. Just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the first song, like the riff of the first song, it's quite similar to Slayer's.
Slayer, exactly.
Very similar, yeah.
Very ominous and very heavy kind of riff. It's a monstrous riff, I would say that way.
Yeah, I think Slayer, I don't know if they'd heard this album considering its obscurity, but it sounds suspiciously similar to South of Heaven, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I also have 3 copies. One.
Wow. That's overkill.
No, I mean, this was an album. I mean, I was looking for quite some time, and when I came to Japan, I was able to. I mean, I came across it and I picked them up.
You seem to have picked it up every time you came across it.
No, so this one is this one is a new reissue. This was reissued in 2020 or 2019, and I think this is from 1974, and then this is the original 1970.
Wow. Fantastic.
But tell me one thing, Saket, are these Japanese reissues are really Japanese, or are they pressed in Europe?
No, this is Japanese. This is pressed in Japan.
Oh, okay.
This is pressed in Japan.
Because the auctions that I participated doesn't display any kind of newest pressings, remasters in Japan. It's all about the old ones. The Face Records Tokyo.
Okay. This one, I mean, at least in the liner notes, it says it's in Japan. Okay. But yeah, there have been quite a few reissues of late that the reissue is actually happening. Like the pressing is happening in say Europe, but the distribution is only in Japan. So,
the Speed Glue and Shinky album has also been reissued on Atlantic.
Yes, that is actually that is for the I think that's not a Japanese press. That's a US press. But yeah. for the Japan market. I think.
Japan one, yeah.
Wait, this is like a recent reissue, or the Speed Blue and Shinky album?
Yes.
Yes. The Speed
Oh.
Blue Shinki, I think both the albums have been reissued. I have the bootleg releases, which sound really great, but it has been reissued on Atlantic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Over to you, Gautam.
Okay. My last pick of the day, just as everything seems to be falling apart around me. So Van der Graaf Generator, the least we can do is wave to each other. Yeah, terrific album. And I think I'd never actually heard anything like this. Particularly, I think the one song, White Hammer.
Yeah.
White Hammer.
That especially is
God, like what
the
is that?
massively
Like, what
heavy
is
coda
happening?
towards the end. Insane.
Seriously, it just blew my mind. Like this album, something special, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have like maybe half a foot in prog, but this is one of my favorite prog albums. Yeah, really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, even after the flood, for that matter. I mean, I think after King Crimson, this was the only prog rock band that reached, at least among the stuff that I've heard. I'm definitely going to check out some of your recommendations, Avik.
Peter Hammond is a genius.
Yeah, but this was one of the only non-Crimson albums that had that level of aggression and a kind of ominous, foreboding vibe to it. I think Emerson, Lake and Palmer were extraordinarily focused on virtuosity. Genesis were a little twee. Yes, were more hippie-like and positive and radiant sounding in most of their music. This and Crimson were the only ones that kind of, I think, fused the elements of prog with that really dark, terrifying kind of sound.
Gentle Giant also. Weird.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, with Octopus and stuff like that. Yeah, amazing.
Okay, over to you, Ravi.
Oh yeah, so my last pick is, I guess, going by prevailing standards, a fairly famous album. This is
Rainbow.
Rainbow Rising. This is a Japanese gatefold issue with no OBI, but with the lyric sheet with the translated lyrics, as well as the
I have the same copy, same one. Japanese version.
Yeah. So it's an absolutely stunning album, and I think the last two tracks, which is basically Stargazer and Light in the Black, pretty much wrote the template for power metal, in my opinion, whether it's the lyrical themes or the music or the way the songs build. I know there's a lot of debate over whether Rainbow are hard rock or proto metal. I definitely put them in the proto metal category, at least basis this particular album. I think it was the heaviest they ever got. And I think everything after this was a bit of a come down, especially the, quite precipitous fall from, I think, Long Live Rock and Roll to Down to Earth.
Yeah. I mean, was this the first album which featured double bass drumming?
I think the Baji albums did kind of predate them on the double bass drumming, because you can hear it quite prominently on Stranded, which is a song that I mentioned from Squawk. So yeah.
Are you talking about double bass drumming?
Yes.
I think it was started by Cream, right? Ginger Baker.
Maybe. Okay.
Ginger Baker and Keith Moon also, I think, of The Who.
Yeah,
and
but I think,
and the entire early Pink Floyd up to Medley or Dark Side of the Moon, Nick Mason also used to have the double bass drum kit.
Yeah, but I kind of think that in this album you have double bass emerging in a kind of recognizable heavy metal context. If you hear Light in the Black, that is pretty much the power metal drumming template. the really fast, pacey kind of thing.
Yeah, if you yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. So I would also refer to a track of Deep Purple used only once, the double bass drum that is in the intro of Fireball.
Oh yeah,
that machine gun drumming that has become a template of the double bass drumming in the thrash metal or the death metal.
Okay, so I think this is the last album, right? Again, 1972.
Wow.
My
favorite.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, I think this is my favorite Sabbath also. Yeah, I think what's there to say about this? This is actually probably not the best sounding Sabbath album, I think, but the songs on this album are, just perfect.
May I share a small trivia, a very fond memory regarding this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I started resuming the vinyl collection in about when I was in IIT, like not resumed. I resumed the vinyl collection in 2012, but in the late 90s, in 1998 or 19, I used to go to Free School Street Free School Street to collect the cassettes and vinyl. So there I have spotted this Black Sabbath Volume 4, an original UK pressing. So those days we didn't understand what are the pressings and all. We just see that it was an UK print, and I said, "Please play the LP." And the shopkeeper, it is, if you know the Free School Street in Calcutta, it's the pavement record stores are there.
Yeah.
So that fellow had a Metablis system which used to have a record player and then a double cassette deck. So he played the LP. So the moment I listened to the first track, I got hooked. I mean, it just blew my mind. There was some magic was there. And I said, "What's the price?" He said, "It's 400 rupees." Unfortunately, those days I couldn't afford that money. So, and I was almost crying and he was not ready to bargain at all. So the next best option was to record that LP on the cassette. So he gave me a cheap mail track cassette for 30 bucks, and he recorded that in his Metablistic, and I got back the cassette crying in the local train that I was not able to capture the LP. And I got it finally in 2015 from Amazon India. And the same UK pressing I got from that particular shop in Free School Street, I think 2 years back. So, it's a full circle.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, but I think the only story I have that's kind of in that ballpark was I'd gone to the National Gramophone House place in Delhi when I had kind of just started getting into records in 2011, and I saw 2 copies of Sgt. Pepper's, and I bought both of them. And the guy was like, "Why are you buying this album twice? Have you made a mistake?" So I said, no, one's a mono and one's a stereo. And as it turns out, the mono version is a first UK press. And when I showed it to one of the record stores here, he was like, "Wow, this is, I mean, if you ever want to sell this is gonna give you a fair chunk of change." But yeah, I think I got it for, I think around grand or something like that. And, I kind of insisted that the guy slash some 200 bucks off the price because I bought some 5 LPs or something like that. So yeah, that's probably, I think, the most expensive LP I own.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
Sorry, Saket, go on.
No. I mean, I was just saying, I don't know if I have a favorite song, but if I have to pick one, maybe Snowblind.
Oh, Snowblind is insane. Yeah, but then, it's really hard picking a track from that album. It's got Supernaut on it.
I love Wheels of Confusion. As I said, it really blew my mind.
The first song,
For me, it's not hard rock. It's progressive rock. The first the opening track. It's a lengthy one. It changes the mood, changes the suit, the changes the passage, and suddenly it becomes very aggressive. It's fantastic.
Yeah. This is definitely a very special album. Yeah. So I don't think nothing more to say about this album, right? I think we all know this very well.
So Gautam, over to you to conclude for today's.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I hope it was fun. But yeah, I had a blast doing this. And if you guys are up for doing more of this, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe like a part 2
Absolutely.
of the 70s, where we can add the
easy.
60s in as well. And yeah, let's do that. But thanks so much, guys. This has been a lot of fun.